guys, today we are going to be looking at all of the books that I hauled in the month of October. I'm not allowed to buy any more books this month, so hopefully I hit up some free little libraries soon, or little free libraries, and that it goes well for me, because sometimes it doesn't, but let's pray the luck is on my side this month. Let's see what books came into my possession in the month of October. I did start the month by going to Barnes & Noble. I got all these books with a gift card, so thank you to the friends and family who got me Barnes & Noble gift cards for my birthday. I have finally gone through all of them, and those gifts made me so happy. A Barnes & Noble gift card, it works wonders. So the first book that I got is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. I focused on horror this month, so I wanted to keep it spooky for Halloween. A dark history lingers in Chapel Croft. 500 years ago, local Protestants were betrayed, then burned. 30 years ago, 2 teenage girls disappeared without a trace, and a few weeks ago, the parish vicar hanged himself in the nave of the church. The more Jack and daughter Flo explore the town and get to know its strange denizens, the deeper they are drawn into the age-old rifts, mysteries, and suspicions. And when Flo begins to see specters of girls ablaze, it becomes apparent there are ghosts here that refuse to be laid to rest. Now, doesn't that sound like the perfect Halloween read? The other book that I got is from more of a cozy horror author, if that is a thing. I've read one book by this author. I know it's a good book, but this one is one that had kind of mixed opinions from what I've seen on social media, but on Goodreads it had really high ratings, and that is From Below by Darcy Coates. I read the one about the girl with like agoraphobia. I can't remember the name, but let's see what this one's about. No light, no air, no escape. Hundreds of feet beneath the ocean's surface, a graveyard waits. I love thrillers and horrors that make you feel claustrophobic, where the person is trapped somewhere. That just really intrigues me. And then under the ocean, oh my gosh, that makes my skin crawl thinking about it, because there's so much we don't know about the oceans. We really should get to exploring the oceans more. Maybe not. Maybe we should just leave everything down there and leave it be so it doesn't come for us. But I love Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. That is kind of a fantasy horror with like evil mermaids, and this gave me a similar vibe, so I cannot wait to pick this up. This is one that I bought on kind of a whim because I see it on social media a lot, and the covers always draw me in. It's a bit more of your weird horror. Menstrilio by Gerdodo Simono Cordova. After her son dies, Magos carves out a small piece of his lung to save for herself. Acting on fierce maternal instinct and the dubious logic of an old folktale, she nurtures the lung until it gains sentience, growing into the carnivorous little Menstrilio she keeps hidden within the walls of her decaying childhood home in Mexico City. But despite her best efforts to turn the monster she created into a man, Menstrilio's innate impulses threaten to destroy his fragile second chance at life. A meditation on grief, acceptance, and the monstrous sides of love and loyalty, the author's ambitious debut spans the globe from Brooklyn to Berlin, offering a cathartic and precise portrait of being human, but then we have monsters as well. So again, I've heard a lot about this book, and the cover always drew me in at Barnes & Noble, so I finally bit the bullet and bought it. Lastly, from Barnes & Noble, I got this book that was recently adapted into a movie. Again, I haven't heard great things about the movie, but I have about the book, and that is The Watchers by A.M. Shine? Yeah. Forest isn't charted on any map. Dark on the brightest day, knotted branches hide its ancient secrets from the sun. This is no place to linger, especially after dark. Outside, from an unexpected tree line, a scream, no worse, an otherworldly scream. I love horror books that involve like folk tales, folklore. That's my favorite kind of horror, if you can't tell by the books that I got. One of the books that I picked up at Target this month is Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. I watched the movie Pompeii, which I know is Roman, but I got to thinking, I was like, okay, were there like priestesses to goddesses and gods in Rome? Because I knew there were in Greece, and so I did a little research on that, and then that led to the Greek priestesses and priests. Turns out that Medusa had once been a priestess. Stuff happens and then she got cursed and having the snake hair turn him into stone. So this is a retelling of the story of Medusa and make it probably more of a feminist twist and just getting to see the story from her perspective. Now we have my book of the month books. Y'all know I love book of the month so much. I'm not sponsored, but the link is always down in the description of my videos. So the first one I got is The Book of Witching by C.J. Cook. For a minute I thought they're both CJ Tudor, CJ Cook. I thought it was the same author, but it's not. This is, oh, my bookmark's falling out. The bookmark's falling out. A mother must fight for her daughter's life in this fierce and haunting tale of witchcraft and revenge. So this girl is somewhere in the British Isles and is on a hike, gets injured, and wakes up with amnesia. 5 Sauce reference. But she wakes up and starts talking about this, just starts talking weird stuff, and the mom starts to do research and she thinks that all this is linked to a ancient curse. The other book that I got is The Night We Lost Him by Laura Dave. This one is more of a thriller, which y'all know isn't really up my alley, but when I did on Storygraph, it seems like I would like this book from everything I read on there. Strange siblings discover their father has been keeping a secret for more than 50 years. One that may have been fatal. And I love those like family dramas. I love dissecting like all the people in the family and how you can all be connected by blood but completely different. I just find that really intriguing. And here's the book of the summer that I didn't get till fall, and that is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Doesn't this look 3D? It is not. It is not 3D, because I was like, how are people putting this on their bookshelves and that part's just not ripping off? No, I don't know how they do this to make it look 3D, but what is this book about? There is a summer camp, and back in the 70s, there in August 1975, people started vanishing, a girl disappears, and then it starts happening again with the daughter of the camp owner. So when a teenager vanishes from her Adirondack summer camp, 2 worlds collide. Another more thriller, because we want to keep it spooky, and this is by the author of my favorite thriller, which is No Exit. So this is a Taylor Adams book, and it is called The Last Word, and that looks like a lot of solitude and out in the wilderness, which y'all know from what I've been saying, I like that. Now let's see what this says. After posting a negative book review, a woman living in a remote location begins to wonder if the author is a little touchy or very, very dangerous. In this pulse-pounding novel, a psychological suspense and terror from the critically acclaimed author of No Exit and Hairpin Bridge. So this sounds like Misery, but reverse, kind of, where it's going to be the reviewer and the author. We'll just have to see. And then lastly, Book Talk finally convinced me to get this book. It's been out for years. I've heard about it for years. People loved it on BookTube back in the day, and people love it on Book Talk now. And that's Pure Nessie by Susanna Clark. I know this has to do with labyrinths, maybe some Greek stuff, kind of dark academia. It's short, so I will give it a go, and I've heard it's best to go in not knowing a lot, so I'm not going to read any of the synopsis for y'all. I'm sorry. I did go to Goodwill this month. I'm going to start going to, because I have multiple Goodwill locations in my city, so I think I'm going to start going to one location a month and just scouting it out, because I have so much fun going to thrift stores, and I got all these books for $3. So the first one I have here is The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. I have loved every book I've read by Joan Didion, and this one's extremely popular, and I have not read it, believe it or not. I think it's kind of a memoir, so from one of America's iconic writers, a stunning book of electric honesty and passion. Joan Didion explores an intensely personal yet universal experience, a portrait of a marriage and a life in good times and bad that will speak to anyone who has ever loved a husband or wife. Basically, her husband passed away, and then her daughter was like deathly ill in the hospital. To my understanding, I've only heard this from, social media. And I cannot imagine going through all that grief and despair and trauma. It sounds awful. So I guess this was kind of therapeutic for Joan Didion to write this book, but I've only heard great things. And as I said, I love Joan Didion's writing. Next, we have a book by another author who I love. I've only read one book, but this is Flight Behavior by Barbara Kingsolver, Demon Copperhead. It's been my favorite book of 2024. So every time I see Barbara Kingsolver, I pick up her books. That's what happens. If you write a 5-star, I will pick up your books. This one I'm actually not sure what it's about. So Della Robbia Turnbow is a restless farm wife who gave up her own plans when she accidentally became pregnant at 17. Now, after a decade of domestic disharmony on a failing farm, she seeks momentary escape through an obsessive flirtation with a younger man. Oh gosh. As the community lines up to judge the woman and her miracle, Della Robbia confronts her family, her church, her town, and the larger world, in a flight towards the truth that could undo all she has ever believed. That sounds amazing. And then this is such a unique find. This is a book all about my city. So Village to City, Florence, South Carolina, 1853 to 1893 by Eugene N. Ziegler Jr. So it's all just a history of our town. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun to read, just about places that I know and where I've lived my whole life. So I cannot wait to learn more about my own city. Amazon Prime Days did happen in October as well, so I got all of these books on sale. I think the majority of these were less than $10, so I'm not going to pass that up. The first one I got is Normal Women by Philippa Gregory. Now, I really talked about this on one of my vlogs, but Philippa Gregory is known for writing books about royal people throughout history, the kings and queens of England, but she has written some nonfiction as well, and this is a nonfiction book, and it is focusing on normal women rather than those royal noble women. We're focusing on what life was like in medieval times for the normal person. And I love this cover because usually if somebody had a painting done of them, they were a well-to-do person. But if you look closely, this is a pixelated picture with a lot of little pictures. So in my head, all these little pictures are of the normal people who've made up these big figures, because you can't have a leader or richness, whatever, wealth without these smaller people. So I just think that is such a unique cover. That's how I analyze it. I don't know if that's how it really is, but I also have loved what I've read from Philippa Gregory in the past, so I cannot wait to pick this one up. Next, I got a romance book that is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I had never seen this cover of this romance book, but I've heard great things about it. So a hot one-night stand and an unexpected pregnancy lead a young woman to someone she can depend on, from the viral TikTok author of Next of Kin and Next to You. So those are tropes that I don't really read that often. Unexpected pregnancy happens in a lot of books, but in a romance book, I haven't really read that. So we'll see what I think of these tropes. And this is a book that I heard about recently. I don't remember whose channel I heard about it on, so if it was you, comment down below. But this is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy, which is, it was winner of the Booker Prize. So this is a family drama, again, following an Indian family. And I don't know much about India, so I do love a family drama. I love learning. I love historical fiction, so that's why I picked it up. Next, we have the memoir that I've heard fantastic things about. When people talk about Chanel Miller's, I often hear it compared to this one. I have not read Know My Name. I really need to read it, but I haven't seen it in stores yet, so I haven't bought it, but I will one day. And this is What My Bones Know, a memoir of healing from the complex trauma by Stephanie Fu. And it's so important to heal. I cannot stress that enough. Once you come face to face with your trauma and dealing with it, it's amazing. So it's very difficult. I don't want to like glamorize it or anything. It's extremely difficult. So I cannot wait to, I know that sounds awful. I cannot wait to read about somebody else who went through that, but to read about other people's experiences, I think is so important. So I cannot wait to read Stephanie Fu's memoir. I did get another nonfiction book, and this is one that I saw at a bookstore in Georgia, and I just didn't want to pay full price for a hardback, so then I saw it on sale, and that is Madness, Race and Insanity in a Jim Crow Asylum by Antonia Hilton. And that, it sounds scary, being in an asylum during the Jim Crow times. I don't even, I do, I'm gonna know, but it's terrible to think about what these people went through, and it is so important to educate ourselves even on these difficult topics. Lastly, Target was having their sale where you can buy 2 books get 1 free, but I could only find 1 book that I really wanted. The others did not come on the shelves till the next week because Target stores have just been like redoing their book sections, getting ready for the holiday season, and I'm sure there's going to be more sales as we inch closer to the holidays. But I did find 1 book that I wanted, so I did not get this on sale or anything, but it's a book that I've been wanting to read, and that is Trust by Hernan Diaz. This is set in the 1920s with Wall Street, and there's like this legendary story, and it's spanning a century. Hernan Diaz's Trust elegantly puts 4 competing narratives into conversation with one another. At once an immersive story and a brilliant literary puzzle, Trust engages the reader in a quest for the truth while confronting the deceptions that often live at the heart of personal relationships, the reality-warping force of capital, and the ease with which power can manipulate facts. Those are all the books that I got in the month of October. Again, if you're one of the ones that got me a gift card, thank you so much, and I cannot wait to read all of these books. I've just been loving reading lately and picking up new books. I only just get so excited about the books I find, especially the Goodwill. Goodwill had so many books this month. I could have bought so much more, but I only bought 3. I behaved. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a Halloween emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! If you are familiar with my videos, you're used to seeing Sherman at the end of them. Sadly, Sherman has since passed away, but I would still like to encourage you guys to help your local shelters. Sherman was at the Darlington County Humane Society in rural South Carolina. I always have their link down below in the description if you guys would like to help them, but also help your local shelters as well. You can do that by donating, sharing posts like this one, volunteering, fostering, and adopting, which it's great to do all of those things. Great to help your community, great to help the animals in your community, and I cannot recommend it enough. All of my pets were rescues, they were strays or from animal shelters, and I love them so much, and I know how much love they can give, so knowing these pets at the shelter can equally give that much love, it's amazing. And y'all should totally take part and help out those local animal shelter pets, and please help them.